All right, hello and welcome everybody to another edition of the Rhythm Rundown with myself, Josh Applebaum, my partner in crime, the sharpest guy I know. What is it? West of the Mississippi? Are you west or east of the Mississippi? I don't even know. Where's Ohio geographically?
I
Are you?
guess east,
Yeah, east.
maybe. I
All
don't
right.
know.
It
Ohio
sounded cooler
ish.
when I said west of the Mississippi, but hey,
I'll go with
whatever.
that.
Yeah. Either way, man. But it's great to be with everybody once again. Myself, Josh Applebaum, my buddy Cade Harper, and Cade. Another Rhythm Rundown here for tonight. And this one is really going to be a good one, and I'm excited to talk about these games with you because obviously we got to start off with March Madness, the Final Four. It's you turn the page to the month of April. March is in the rear view, but March Madness, newsflash here, doesn't end in March. You still have a couple games here with the Final Four, the championship, of course, which will be right after the Final Four. And we have two great games to talk about, Cade. And you and I were kind of joking a little bit before the live stream here. One of these games is kind of a clear system play for me in terms of one of my favorite systems in general, based on bet splits, line movement, and rhythm. Like everything is lining up very nicely for me to sweat this one side. There's another game where I'm having a really difficult time here figuring out what to do because kind of the betting market is telling me one thing, but then rhythm is saying, no, go the other way. So that's always kind of a tough situation for me. As much as I can help it, want to marry the market with what rhythm is recommending that we do. So we'll talk about both games, Illinois and UConn, and of course the big one here, Michigan and Arizona, which Cade kind of reminds me of the NFC Championship game. When you had the Seahawks and you had the Rams. That was pretty much the Super Bowl. You go to the Super Bowl and my Patriots get rolled there. I'm an idiot. Took the points. I'll never forget that one. But it feels like that Arizona Michigan game is just going to be a barn burner. So looking forward to breaking down both of these games with you. And then, it's April. Weather's getting a little bit better. Your Reds are playing. My Red Sox stink right now, Cade, but baseball is back. So it's even though it's a really small slate today, there's only 3 games. I'm going to, complain to the schedule makers once again. Why do we only have 3 games on a Thursday? But there are 2 late games, Braves and D-backs, Mets and Giants. And I got to play on both of these, which line up pretty good with these rhythm recommendations. So we're going to talk Final Four. We're going to talk some Major League Baseball, and we're going to see if we can hopefully cash some tickets with the help of Rhythm. Cade, as we're getting ready to get this stream going, let me toss it to you. How you doing? How you feeling? What's going on in your world, and what are you thinking about from a betting perspective?
Boy, I'm just happy it's not like 40 degrees anymore. I mean, we've had like back-to-back days now where it's like 50 plus, so I'm grinning ear to ear. Ripped out the golf clubs for the first time in about almost a year, so it felt great. But yeah, best time of the year. Like we've pretty much been saying for like the last like few weeks now. I mean, March Madness is obviously coming to a close, but then enter MLB. It's beautiful outside. Everybody's going to the games, and we just have more stuff to bet on and more stuff to talk about, of course. So here we are. So yeah, great time.
Well said, my friend. Yeah, this is a special time of year. Even like, NFL, Kirk Cousins signs with the Raiders to be maybe a mentor for Mendoza. I'm already looking at NFL draft prop bets, Kate. I'm a crazy weirdo who likes to bet the NFL draft. So there's a lot of good things to bet on. Then we got the Masters coming up. Shout out to Tiger Woods, my man. You've made a gazillion dollars. Hire your buddy, pay him $100,000 a year to drive you around. I do not understand how Tiger Woods still gets into these problems. But either way, we got a lot to get to on the podcast, on the live stream here for tonight. Cade, I'm going to share my screen and just kind of get everything started here. And I want to throw a few kind of stats at you before we dive into these games. As always, just some quick housekeeping. Always want to mention to everybody that, Rhythm is such a fantastic tool that helps us win bets because it takes away our bias. And instead of, betting upon based on what we think will happen, hope will happen, again, everyone, I think, almost everyone starts off as a new bettor, just throwing darts, doing what you think is going to happen. Then you realize, hey, I need some data to really guide me instead of my bias. Let's lean on what the numbers are saying. So Rhythm does a great job of giving us these AI-backed models and predictions. Want to mention, of course, if you haven't done it yet, just download the Rhythm app. All you got to do is go to the App Store, type in RITHMM. You'll get a 7-day free trial. If you like it, use promo code START25. I think you're going to love it because it changes the way you think about betting because you can do your research prior to a game or you can do no research prior to a game. But then once you kind of look at these Rhythm recommendations, it really changes the way you view numbers and view value. And anytime you see that green star, that lightning bolt, smart signal, Cade, you get pretty excited. I love seeing those little angles. But promo code START25, that's going to give you 25% off. Want to remind everyone that we do have our refer a friend here in the top right corner. So you'll both get 50% off your first month and a month free. So tell a friend. You guys can both capitalize on that. And then, of course, we have our getting started tutorials, as well as a bunch of other kind of good, places to go and tips and strategies here at the top of the page. And of course, have your multiple outs, shop for the best line. You guys all know the drill there. Kate, before we break down these two games, just a couple things. I'm someone who's always interested in like the macro and the micro. So the micro is each individual game. The macro is what are some just overall things that we're seeing across the betting market. So if you go back years and years, NFL, it was like dogs and unders because public loved favorites and overs, and dogs and unders were, 55, 56% every year. Then we had a couple years where chalk did really well, kind of regressed a little bit this year. March Madness, it's kind of the same thing where it always used to be. I'm going to date myself, Cade. My first job in the betting industry was at Sports Insights in 2011. So it's a while ago, but it was like every year, can't wait for March Madness. I'm going to play dogs. I'm going to play unders. I'm going to really pad my bankroll and have it and make a killing here. Well, again, we talked about this last week with the NIL and maybe just the really good players going to the best teams, and you're not seeing as many upsets. Even though we did have obviously UConn with that incredible backdoor cover and win with that incredible last shot against Duke. We have had some upsets here and there, but overall, going into the Final Four, Cade, we now have March Madness favorites 36 and 28 against the spread this tournament. So that is a 56.3% cover rate. Again, it used to be flip it. Dogs were 56.3%. But this just goes to show you that chalk has done well this tournament. Again, this is not a good thing to hear if you're the sports books. No one's going to cry for them. They'll be fine. But 8% ROI if you're going chalk, you're up about 5.5 units. So think of it this way. A unit is like $100. So if you're up 5.5 units playing every favorite, that means if you bet $100 on every favorite, laid the chalk in every March Madness game, obviously I wouldn't recommend that because it's just a lot of volume. But if you were to do that, you'd be up about $550 right now. So just goes to show that these favorites have done pretty good. Favorites winning the game straight up. They're 48 and 16, 75%. Sounds like you'll make a killing there, right? But remember, a favorite that's minus 10 is a huge, minus 500, minus 1,000 number. So you're actually down a couple units if you take every favorite. Going into the Final Four, though, Cade, based on what the betting market and the odds makers are telling us, it's either Arizona or Michigan here, most likely to win it all. Now, what's interesting is if you go to DraftKings, Arizona and Michigan are your two favorites to cut down the nets. They're both plus 175. So you got to think of it this way. Arizona and Michigan, they're playing each other. So one of these teams is going to lose, yet the odds makers are telling you whoever wins that game is most likely going to win it all. Again, crazier things can happen. Maybe that doesn't happen. But odds makers are telling you Arizona and Michigan are kind of the best of the best remaining. That's not breaking news or anything. Illinois is plus 400. UConn is plus 550. Now, I know you have a great hedge opportunity, Cade. And once again, I'm going to throw you some flowers because you and I did a season of college football and you got to the championship game where you had a great number on Miami. You're able to hedge it, make some money. I'm not going to, you can maybe explain that when you want now or later in the stream, but any of these futures jump out to you? Zona or Michigan plus 175. Can Illinois win it all at plus 400? Can UConn at plus 550 win it all? Let's say you don't have any tickets that you're holding. You haven't played any of these yet. Any of those numbers to cut down the nets interest you?
Definitely. I mean, it's hard to speak on it right now with just what I'm already holding, I guess. But I think I think Illinois might have value a little bit. Honestly, I think everybody likes to doubt Underwood in March, specifically, myself included. I did not really expect to see this team kind of make this deep of a run. But they've played great ball. And I mean, I can't really doubt it or anything like that. A lot of people actually that I like in close with actually took and held futures on like Illinois Final Fours and Illinois Natties. And I'm just like, like here we go again. Brad Underwood put in trust. I mean, like they are one of the like hotter teams right now, relatively speaking. But I mean, even like past seasons, I mean, they'll come into this tournament scorching, and then they would usually like flop in like the second round, Sweet 16. They could just never find that big win to pretty much push them in to the Elite Eight, and then obviously to the Final Four, of course. I think that would be the majority of her value of where it stands personally. Um, I definitely like between the four. I definitely don't like going cheap with it and just like buying either like the top two because the top two are extremely close. If it's going to be Arizona, Michigan, I'm pretty sure. I mean, man, I mean, obviously, like the line's already a pick 'em like right now. So I mean, I would assume. What are the prices again for the top two?
Yeah, so Zona and Michigan are both plus 175.
So they're the same price.
Same price. Shop around. Again, maybe one book has them slightly different, but yeah, DraftKings, you're basically a both of those teams are your favorites here.
I mean, man, that's tough because I mean, if UConn wasn't such a trendy dog, I would say back the probably the best coach and out of the four, and that's Danny Hurley, of course. Which, if they weren't such a public dog, I would probably be all over that if I didn't have anything to hold here, which is hard to admit, obviously. But yeah, I think if you're looking just to have something, maybe Illinois, maybe go Illinois there, just because I would see the most value.
Yeah, I'm kind of with you because again, and then this could be completely a futile, kind of exercise because crazy things happen. Both of these Final Four games are really, really short numbers. I mean, we'll get into both games here in a second, but Illinois is like -2, -1.5, -2.5, around -2. Michigan is -1.5. If it were UConn to beat Illinois or Arizona to beat Michigan, that'd be a quote unquote upset.
Right.
But is it a huge upset if you're a 1.5 dog and you win? No, not really. So I'm kind of with you there. It's interesting too. I always like to look at what KenPom has, and he's got it pretty clearly. Same thing. Michigan and Arizona are your 1 and your 2. Michigan is very, very just a tiny, tiny little bit better than Arizona. But he actually had going into the Final Four Duke as your third best team. Illinois is your fourth best, and he's got Connecticut ranked 9th. So he has basically Connecticut ranked lower than Houston, Florida, Iowa State, and Purdue. Now, obviously, Connecticut won. Connecticut's had a better year. They've gone deeper. But the analytics, the numbers, kind of tells you what an upset that was with UConn coming back. And I just took the points there, Kate. I was like, let's just backdoor cover this thing. But incredible final shot there to win it. Connecticut would be probably the biggest long shot. But again, I'm kind of with you. Illinois, if you can get by UConn, which is no easy task, we'll get to that here in a second, then you're going to go up against, Arizona or Michigan. You'll probably be a short dog in that one. But from a futures perspective, it's always funny. You talk to bettors, Cade, and it's like, it doesn't mean that you think Illinois is going to win it all. It's just that the value of the number is presenting kind of the best opportunity there. So
absolutely,
I'm kind of with you. But let's get right into it here because this first game, I got a pretty clear play on. The second one, I'm having a real tough time, so I'm going to need your help in this one, Cade. But first off, let's go to the quote-unquote early game on Saturday. It's a 6:09 tip, Illinois and UConn. Now, this one is very interesting for a variety of reasons. Number one, you have a UConn team ranked second, second number 2 seed, Illinois number 3. If you look at just kind of how these teams have matched up, you got to go off of what have we seen recently. Illinois took down Iowa 71 to 50. And they're playing great, covering the number pretty much the entire game. Illinois turns it on and covers it. UConn, though, incredible. Coming back against Duke, they're down by 19. You come back in the game, you have an incredible buzzer beater. If I'm Shire, man, just hold the ball and get fouled. What is Boozer, the shorter Boozer, doing on that one? Makes no sense. I give him credit though. Both him and his brother faced the music, talked to the media afterwards. That took a lot of guts. I'll give him credit there. But here's the thing from a betting perspective, Kay, that gets me kind of excited to play this game. If you look at what's going on in the market, it's very, very clear that the public loves UConn. And you'll see this often when a team has a huge upset victory, prime time or a playoff game, and they're a dog again in the next game. The public just says, let me ride that hot dog. They just came through against Duke. They're quote unquote playing a team that's not technically as good, Illinois, at least based on the numbers. Take the points. Don't think about it. UConn is a team of destiny. Hurley's a maniac. Caravan's hitting these big shots. It's just like, don't even think about it. Take UConn. You look at the betting market right now, nearly 2/3 of tickets are going with UConn, taking the points here. But you said the important word to me earlier, trendy dog. Again, doesn't always mean, a trendy dog will never win or never cover. They have covered, they have won. So UConn could very easily win this game. They're only getting a point and a half, 2 points. But anytime I'm getting to a playoff game where you have a ton of betting and a ton of public love on an underdog, that's automatically a red flag to me, because you got to think psychologically from the betting public. They're more often than not going to want to play the favorite, because the favorite is the safer play. They're favored because, therefore, they're the better team. They should win. They should cover. If a public bettor bets a favorite and they lose, yeah, they're mad, but it's like, hey, they should have won. If a public bettor plays a dog and they lose, it's like, yeah, they were expected to lose. So there's kind of this psychological thing where bet the favorite, play the over because it's more fun to root for points. When the public loads up on a dog, that's kind of a rare situation. It doesn't happen too often. And that's what you're seeing here with UConn. And you could probably have predicted this after UConn has that incredible win against Duke. But around 2/3 of bets at DraftKings are on UConn. However, this game isn't down to a pick. It hasn't gone to UConn -1. It's kind of stayed pretty steady here toward Illinois. A lot of books open Illinois -1.5, -2. You're still -1.5, -2. I believe a couple books got up as high as Illinois -2.5. So right off the bat, it's telling me that if I want to bet against the public in a heavily bet, playoff game, you could consider this like your AFC NFC championship game, your Final Four. Automatically, I want to fade the trendy team UConn and take Illinois. Second indicator here for me, Cade, if you look at the splits on the money line, and you and I, big proponents of money lining short favorites here. If I'm going with Illinois, I don't want to lay a 2.5. If they win by 1, I'll lose my bet. I won't be able to go to sleep at night. You look at DraftKings right now, 36% bets, 45% money on the Illinois money line. Over at Circa in Vegas, 43% bets, 64% money on the Illinois money line. So we can fade a trendy dog, which is UConn. The line has pretty much stayed line freeze, or even, contrarian RLM, fade the trendy dog toward Illinois. You get into some other factors here. Illinois, very long, very tall, 41 rebounds a game versus 36 for UConn. Illinois has the better offensive efficiency, first versus 27th for the Huskies. Better offensive rebound percentage, third versus 30th. Better free throw shooting, 16th versus 210th. Cade, we got Illinois shooting 78% from the free throw stripe, only 72% for the Huskies. And Illinois takes better care of the ball. They rank 10th in fewest turnovers on offense versus 179th for UConn. Next, Ken Pom, our guy, has Illinois winning by 4. That's kind of big. Again, he's got a lot of tight games. We'll get to Michigan in a second, but Ken Pom's got Illinois by 4. But again, this is the Rithmm rundown. So let's look at what Rithmm is predicting for this game. If we go to our models, and I'm not going to get in these smaller tournaments, Cade. If you're playing them, I hope you win. But I'm not going to waste my time on them. But let's go to these predictions. I got a lot of Illinois here, Cade. Illinois on the spread -2.2. Illinois on the spread -2. And then my money lines, 2 out of 3 on Illinois. So Illinois winning by about 2 points. Illinois winning by about 2 points as well. So add it all up here, Cade. Again, maybe I'm an idiot for going up against Hurley and this magic of the Huskies, but I'm a data-driven bettor. I believe in trust Rithmm. Rhythm's telling me Illinois. Market's telling me Illinois. I'm looking to money line Illinois here, Cade. Let me toss it to you. What do you think about Illinois and UConn in the Final Four?
This is I can't stress it enough, like how flip-floppy, like pancake I was on this game, just because like immediately after UConn won that Duke game, I wanted to buy so hard on UConn. I'm not gonna lie, I really
Me too,
did.
man.
Really did. I'm just a Dan Hurley fan. I don't know why, but like I love the old-fashioned coaches and I'm always rooting for them, honestly. But dude, when I saw the splits, like jaw hit the floor. Like honestly, I wasn't really expecting that much because it feels like Illinois is due for their loss, and it feels like here it is. Data and everything net ranking wise completely say otherwise, because it's almost, I don't want to say it's lopsided, but it's a lot bigger than people think it is. Like honestly, I checked mine From a projection standpoint, I'm have Illinois at minus 2.8. And again, like what I've always liked to do is pretty much throw mine with rhythms. And again, same thing as you with the rhythm house model at 2.2, and then the rundown model as well. And then even like we've pretty much preached down everybody's throats again, the short money line favorites. It's can't stress it enough. But from a data perspective, both teams have played each other this year. They played in Madison Square Garden. That was relatively very early in the year, actually. Um, I think at the time, like that game can kind of go out the window for this game in particular because there's a lot of things that Illinois has done differently, and then UConn pretty much fell off the face of the earth after that game as well. So honestly, I don't really like to. I don't want to say it counts because obviously it counts, but you know what I mean. It doesn't necessarily fall into my handicap of this game specifically, just because of how much both sides have adapted. And honestly, I think this game is either one. It's either probably going to be one from the perimeter or it's Illinois' interior, um, because they rebound incredibly well. UConn's guard play is, I don't want to say it's it's bad, but it's shaky, specifically solo ball. Crazy issues outside on perimeters and stuff like that. If him and Mullins together essentially cannot find a rhythm, I think they're cooked from the start. I'll just pretty much be up front or try to be as blunt as I can, just so I'm not taking forever. But it should be pretty ugly if they cannot find a rhythm there. Honestly, I just don't know if I can just trust the shooters as a whole. I mean, like Illinois' offense is electric as is. They're going to score. They're going to find ways to score. They're going to hit you from elbows, from posts, from corners, from the wing. I mean, like you name it. Like they just operate in every way possible. Like they clearly have the superior team. The only loss since December 1st that was not decided on a buzzer beater or overtime, it was against Michigan, who was also in the Final Four, who is also one of the co-favorites of the national championship, who they might end up playing again if they win this one. Hopefully, for my sake, which I'll get into in a minute. I think UConn is coming in way colder because they've lost 4 of its last 11. And 2 of those were against tournament teams, or sorry, were against non-tournament teams, Marquette and Creighton, both at home. Bad losses. But again, like I've always kind of tossed and turned about, Dan Hurley is a psychopath that just likes playing in March. So he just wins. I don't know. I can't explain it. He just wins. That's basketball. Big deal. I'm afraid of the guy. I'm afraid of fading him. But given the data, given the splits, and given rhythm, I have to money line Illinois for cheap here while I can.
Yeah, I think you laid it out great here. And again, I think the back of your mind, the scary part is, do I want to go up against Hurley and this magic that UConn has and the pedigree, and what is this, their third Final Four in 4 years? I mean,
It's
again, this is
incredible. Yeah.
it's incredible. Give them all the credit in the world. It kind of reminds me a little bit of like the Chiefs in a way, where when you're going with Mahomes, it's like, how do I bet against Mahomes? And this helped me and hurt me, Cade, because a few years ago when I went out to Vegas to cover the Super Bowl, the one against the 49ers, the year before, I bet against Mahomes and went with the Eagles and lost. And I said, I'm never doing it again. And then I played Mahomes against the 49ers. Game went to overtime, was incredible. They won. I'm like, okay, I've been validated. I'll never bet against them again. What do I do the next Super Bowl? Cade, I bet on them against the Eagles again. They got destroyed. So, like, there are these narratives of like, I can never bet against this guy, or always got to bet on this player. And sometimes they'll come true, but sometimes they won't. And I think, if you're betting on, if your handicap is based upon a personal vendetta, saying I'm never going to bet against this person or bet on this person in a positive way, I just think that that's a handicap that probably isn't going to succeed as much as you want it to. So maybe I'm just confirmation bias saying that because, yeah, I don't want to go up against Hurley. I can see him coaching his butt off and UConn winning this game outright. But as we always try to do, again, focusing on the data, what the betting market is doing. And if we can combine what all the big money across the market in Vegas is doing and the way the line is moving with what these incredible advanced AI models that Rithmm has for us, and they're kind of both leaning pretty hard with Illinois here. And again, Ken Palm's got a 4-point game. If Ken Palm had a 1 point, 2 point, Illini win, that's one thing. But that tells me that the advanced algorithms with Ken Palm are pretty bullish on the Illini here, Cade. And I'm also looking at, one thing you were talking about, which jumped out to me, and I was quickly looking at just the height of all these players. Not that basketball is always about the taller team wins, but you're looking at a lot of these guys on Illinois. Merkovich, 6'9", Ivasic, 7 foot. Wagler's 6'6". Stojakovic is great off the bench, 6'7". Davis is 6'6". Caravan and Reed for UConn, 6'8" and 6'11". But other than that, everyone is like 6'6", 6'4". There's just a very, kind of height and length advantage here for Illinois, who also shoots better. So the pedigree, the magic, the it factor, yeah, that's UConn, but data and everything is looking like Illinois here. So I'm going to follow Rithmm. Ian, what the betting market is telling me, I'll fade UConn as much as I wanted to play them. Can't force a play just because you want to bet it. We'll be going Illinois here on the money line, hoping that they win the game. Cade, any thoughts on the total here? Because I didn't really have much. I've just been looking kind of just across the betting market and how this line has moved. It did dip down a little bit. Some books open like 140.5. You are now down to around 139.5. So it has moved a little bit. And if we get the up-to-date splits on this game, again, you always think going into a big game like this, you're probably just going to have a big majority of bets playing the over because it's fun to root for an over. But if you look at this one here, you're looking at 73% bets, 78% dollars on the over at DraftKings. You look at Circa, and we have, let me get the updated numbers, 40% bets, 58% dollars on the over. So both splits are telling you over, which is weird because the total dipped a little bit. But if you look at what Rithmm is predicting, all three models of mine, Kate, are playing the over. One of them is a Green Star over. First one is 142.7. So over 139.5. It's a pretty decent edge, about a 3-point edge. Second model, 144.2, even higher. Third model, 142.2. So Illinois got a great offense. Both these teams can play defense. That's kind of a low number. It scares me that it fell, but the splits and Rithmm are both saying go over here. So I'll lean a little bit to the over. But what do you think, Kate? Any thoughts, or what do your numbers have for the total here?
I actually didn't look into a total, which I probably should have. But yeah, mine were actually on the over as well, which I thought was interesting just because of how I thought it was pretty low. I mean, obviously, I know these teams are pretty slower paced, but they're very defensive minded. I should say UConn is more so defensive minded. Illinois just has the play style of it. They just shoot a lot better. I have 142 like on the dot. I think Torvik had 142 on the dot as well. I was just checking there. 50-50? I don't know. It's a pretty good edge. Like I said before, I mean, the 3-point edge is something that you would usually, you're kind of grinning ear to ear about. Yeah, obviously the only thing in question is the splits. I might watch it dip a little bit, maybe. I don't know. The prices look kind of iffy in some spots. But the minus 120, I mean, I would still probably do that, depending on your unit size, of course. I would say it's playable at that, though. A 4-point edge even then would be way better, of course. For just maybe a couple more cents, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, that's kind of appealing to me. Over 138.5, minus 120. Yeah, you're juiced up. You got to pay a little bit higher of a price here, but man, this thing lands. Remember, it opened 140.5, so there definitely was some respected money hit the under, caused that total to fall. But we always talk about it, on the show and in general, Cade, like how much does a line have to fall before a different group of sharps come in and say, oh, it's fallen too much, let's hit it and go the other way. So, I'll lean over for now because the splits do look pretty good. And I do definitely respect that all three models are on the over. But remember, this game is 6 o'clock on Saturday. We're talking on a Thursday night. What happens between now and then? If you see this thing fall even further in a way that would get you more excited to play the over because you're getting a better number, like let's say this thing gets down to 138.5 across the market, not just BetMGM, or 138. Like, okay, wow, I got a better number now. That would also kind of scare me to play the over because you're going up directly against smart money that continues to go under. So sometimes in situations like this, If you're, hesitant or there's a red flag popping up here or there, give it some time. We got a couple days. I think what you maybe want to see, Cade, is a lot of this over buyback to hit, and you start to see this line get closer to 140, and then you can still get the 138.5 before it moves too much. But yeah, it fell. But again, Rhythm's telling you to take the over if you want to sweat that thing. All right, take a deep breath, my man. Let's go to the big one here, because this one, man, this is a hard one to cap, I must admit. It's a short number. Tickets are down the middle, and I got a lot of conflicts for this one, Cade. So can't wait to hear your take. But Michigan, Arizona. I think on the outset, I made the comparison to, the Seahawks and the Rams in the NFC Championship game. This is just the two best teams going at it. It kind of frustrates you, Cade, that this isn't the championship game. Like, you would have loved to see these two teams face off, because who knows, let down if it's, Michigan against UConn or Arizona versus Illinois. But either way, this one is just incredible. It's very rare you get the one, and I guess Duke got knocked off, but all season long, these were your top two teams basically. A lot of times were ranked one across the country. Both one seeds, both incredible records, a very, very short number. Now, from a betting perspective, because I always start with the market, then I let Rithmm come from the top rope and talk me further into a bet or make me take a step back. From a betting perspective, I kind of like Michigan, because some of these books opened around a pick'em game. I saw one book open, Arizona maybe -1.5. Some books were Michigan -1. It was, cut it down the middle. It was basically a pick'em game. We've now seen Michigan get bet up to -1.5. So the line has moved toward Michigan. That's the first indicator. Number two, the splits are right down the middle, 50-50. If you look at DraftKings right now, technically speaking, 50% tickets, 53% money on the spread is on the Wolverines. So unlike that Illinois-Connecticut game, there's no contrarian value. Like, it's clear Connecticut's the public play and Illinois is the contrarian play. You don't have either of those things here. Public does know what to do because you got two great teams in a short number. It makes sense. Here's what I did like, though. If you go over to Circa, Cade, on the topic of money lining a short favorite, Michigan's like -125 on the money line, pretty cheap number. At Circa, Michigan is getting 42% of bets, 93% of dollars. So that is a really sharp split out in Vegas on Michigan just to win this game. Ken Palm has Michigan winning by 1 point. So the market's moving toward Michigan. They got a great bet split to win the game on the money line at Circa. Ken Palm's got them by 1. You do have a couple advantages as well. Better effective field goal percentage, 6th versus 35th. Slightly better three-point shooting. Slightly better free throw shooting. But then when I go to Rithmm is not telling me, oh, I got all Michigan, lay the points, Michigan's -3, Green Star, Michigan money line. It's the opposite, Cade. All my stuff here from Rithmm is telling me Arizona. Basically a pick'em game. Remember, some books open Arizona a favorite, -1.5. Arizona plus 0.4. Arizona plus 0.1. Arizona, again, 0.1. So if you have basically a game that is a coin flip right down the middle, the smart play is to take the 1.5 with Arizona. All my money lines are saying take Arizona in a coin flip game. So help me out in this one, Cade. You can talk me into Arizona and tell me it's an overreaction. The love of the, even though the splits don't really show it, kind of the overall love for Michigan is more than Arizona. Michigan's a great team. Go Michigan. Or is the value play plus 1.5 Arizona? I'm having a hard time with this game, I must admit, kid. Most games I can tell you pretty clearly the side I want to be on. I'm having trouble here. So I'll defer to my guy. What do you think about this one?
So I'll start by saying that my future is on Michigan to win the Natty. So I'm obviously rooting for that. So I have a hedge on Arizona money line, which is what I'm playing in the game. However, blank slate, hypothetically, if I had nothing already in, I think I'm on Michigan here, personally. Now there's a lot of things in this game. Like, first of all, these games are going to be night and day. I was looking like the totals like just a minute ago. And like, you're going to go from like an absolute dogfight to just probably lights out shooting from the perimeter is just going to be dead. I don't know. I can't predict it, obviously. Michigan's defense is one of the biggest advantages in this game for me, and that's inside the paint. It's rim protection, and then a lot of the times for a team like Arizona, who ranks outside the top 75 percentile in 2-point percentage, I'm got to go with the bigger guys here who are more burly and stocky on the inside, because that's what wins these kind of games, definitely. And what's even more fun, they have 3 of them. And they are way better than Arizona's bigs, unfortunately. It blows my mind how like in form or in rhythm all these guys are at the same time. I love Koa Pete. I love Krivas. I just don't know if they can score efficiently. Now, from the line, that's different. And I think that's going to be Arizona's game plan, is getting to the line. However, Arizona isn't necessarily the greatest team in the world at free throws. They actually are kind of mid at it, if anything. If it's like any word that I can find, that's pretty much about it. But like Arizona's game plan, in my opinion, it has to be getting those big guys into foul trouble. And then the guard play has got to be like spot on perfect. Like that's it pretty much. And like as far as like perfect, I mean like dominating, because obviously I don't know the whole rumor, but Godot, is he traveling late or something like that? I don't know how stuff looks there. I'm not really looked in much into it really. But Braden Burries, dude's insane right now. If you guys have actually been watching, Jaden Bradley, Big 12 Player of the Year. I mean, they're going to have to create their own spots and create their own shots more so. From a depth perspective, Arizona's definitely got the advantage there, I think, because Michigan's already down LJ Kaysen, who was just announced out like before the tournament started. Obviously, it doesn't look like it affected them very much here, but still, obviously, it's a factor that we have to consider. I think it's going to be difficult on Arizona's offense part. And even then, Michigan still scores on the interior just as good as they defend. I mean, Arizona's defense is going to have a hard time just as bad. You know what I mean? There's problems all the way around, honestly. And I'm biased holding the Michigan national championship ticket at 10-1 that I gave out in the third game of the season this year. So if you're in my Discord personally, hopefully you actually followed that, because I wanted to take it at the beginning of the year. I didn't know how Dusty May would look. And then you see these 100, like against like teams like Gonzaga. And I mean, they're doing it on these no-name schools, obviously, but then they do it against Gonzaga. Yeah, I'm in. I'm buying in. So yeah, I've been bought into this team for a very, very, very long time. If I didn't have a play, I would seriously be all over Michigan here. I'm talking like team totals. I'm talking if you want, because my model made it Michigan 3.7. I mean, like, I don't know how ballsy you guys are. It's like if you want to see like value and stuff like that, the alternate spread market is a wonderful tool that I've played multiple times this year, just from the model's perspective, just kind of tailing it in its own way. Obviously, super small, but nothing crazy. Nonetheless, if you don't have anything on the table, just take Michigan for super cheap, because I think the value is expendable there. Better bigs win the game 90% of the time. I mean, that's basketball. So I'm going to hopefully win my first future with Rithmm Rundown here. Hopefully. And I guess we'll circle back next week and we'll see. Either I'm going to be sulking or I'm just not even going to show up on the show. I'm kidding. I've had too many opportunities to not. But yeah, no, I'm kidding. Like I said, have anything on the table, I think it's the Wolverines.
Yeah, again, very convincing argument, my man. We'll hang your jersey in the rafters of the Rithmm, the Rithmm Rundown Hall of Fame here. But I agree with you. I mean, like, to me, you look at, again, the line move is super important to me. And the other thing you talked about is that point guard, Cato or Godot or whatever. He had an allergic. I remember hearing about him. Like, okay, what happened? I just Googled it. He had an allergic reaction. He was brought out on a gurney, but then they're like, oh, he'll be totally fine. And then the other thing is, if he's really, going to miss this game, this line maybe he's worth a half point. I wouldn't expect he's worth a ton. But you'd probably see the juice change, or maybe get back down closer to a pick. really hasn't moved at all. So either that tells me he's not that meaningful to the spread and Michigan's good anyway, and it won't make a difference if he's limited or won't play, or he's fine and there's no issue there. So whatever the case may be, whatever the reaction was, definitely something to monitor. But based on the betting market, probably not that serious. I'm gonna wait this thing out, Kay, just because I hate going up against what Rithmm is recommending. If this was like, let's say, I had one Arizona and two Michigan, or a Michigan Green Star, and just the fact that everything says Arizona, that does scare me a little bit. And I agree with you. Michigan is a powerhouse. I bet against them quite a few times this year, and they made me look like a complete idiot. I finally laid the points with them in that last game, which was pretty fun. They were -7.5 up to 8.5 against Tennessee. Absolutely dominated. So I'm like, wow, this is fun to bet Michigan and have them come through for you. I'll take the cop out answer and I'll give it another 2 days just because I want to see, does this line get steamed up to Michigan -2? Do we see it get back down to 1? I mean, the crazier things have happened. You get to the day of a championship game or a Final Four game, let's see where the big money breaks. I'm with you. Kind of the eye test says Michigan's better and they're getting a great price on a really good team. But because of these other Rithmm recommendations that I don't want to go against, I'll give it a couple days. Either way, I hope you get your future. Let me ask you this, though, Cade. The total. I kind of like the over. Am I crazy to like the over here? Because in a game where, let's say this, you want action, the first rule of Fight Club, there is no Fight Club. The first rule of sports betting is don't bet a game just because you want the action. Bet a game because you've done your homework and made a strong, smart case to bet on something. But if this remains the same, like let's say nothing changes and Rithmm's telling me Arizona, betting market's telling me Michigan, I'm either going to take one team and go against the market or against Rithmm, which I don't really want to do. But everything's kind of lining up on this over because across the betting market, this total did rise. And great point by you. This total is like 20 points higher than the Illinois game. But the total did rise. It opened around 156.5. You're up to 157.5. I see a 158 out there. So the total is going up. You look at the splits at DraftKings, only about 65% bets, 75% of the money is on the over. Both teams are top 5 in offensive efficiency. Both teams average nearly 90 points per game. Both teams shoot 50% field. Offenses here going head to head. Ken Palm has Michigan winning by 80-79. Add those two up. That's a 159. We look at the current price of 157.5. And the Rithmm recommendations, all of them are on the over. First one, 159.9. Second one, 159.3. But the best one of all is a Green Star recommended 161.1. So short spread in general, this is a 1.5 typically is a good sign for an over. Back and forth, competitive game. Got a lot of fouling and stuff at the end. Maybe to over 10 or 15 or more. If this holds true and I can't take Michigan, I'm thinking, do I just play the over here, Cade? Because Ken Palm, again, has a 159. Rithmm is saying go over. I can still get over 157.5. What do you think about the over here?
I'm glad you hit on this because at the very least, even though I have the Michigan ticket and the Arizona money line, I mean, like I really, really, really want to just like sprinkle some alt team total for Michigan. I mean, just looking at the history specifically, Dusty May is a coach who, obviously, they have the coaching edge. I would pretty much start out with that. Love the guy. He's already been in the Final Four with Florida Atlantic, by the way, for those of you who don't know or who are unaware of this guy. And he almost won the game. They lost to a buzzer beater, which was obviously heartbreaking for the guy. But so he's back with a much better offense. I think, first of all, this team hasn't scored 90 or less in like 2.5 weeks since the conference tournament. I mean, they've put up, just going down the line, from the first round, 101, 95, 90, and 95. Arizona's defense, like I've already pretty much hit on a little bit there, so I'm not going to repeat myself, but they're top 5 inside scoring. and they have great rebounding. I mean, like you said, it's a competitive game. The line speaks for itself. If you like both team total predictions, I mean, I think it seems makes more sense just to play the full game over while you're there, honestly, especially if the data is calling for what is that, almost 4 points of a total advantage. Again, this time for a much better price, obviously. Looks like you could even get the minus 121 with Bet Rivers, which is even better. I think if you want, I mean, you can play, I don't know, man. I mean, honestly, if you just want to play the full game, if you just like to play the sides, look at the team total action, maybe. I really want Rhythm to have the team total side eventually. I think that would be really cool to add personally. But since we don't have the team totals, I think the full game would be the safer option, of course. Nonetheless, it lines up with mine as well. I mean, I'm at 158.1, which is not as good as Rhythm, but it still projects for an over. So, I mean, again, find your price and then just rip it from there if that's what you want to feel confident in.
Yeah, again, I agree with you because you got two great offenses, and it isn't always that, oh, two great offenses means play the over. Like, a lot of times you'll see in the NFL, two great offensive teams, the total's 51, and it's a, 27-20 game, and it goes under. Like, but the fact that you do have great offenses and the market's rising and Rhythm and even your numbers, Cade, say go over here. Again, something definitely to respect. And you rattled off Michigan. Yeah, they're 90 or more every game. Now, Arizona only had 79 against Purdue. Remember that Arkansas game, 109-88? I mean, when Arizona gets scoring, they're just not going to stop. So I kind of like the idea of just a lot of offense here, and maybe Michigan just makes a couple more plays and they win the game. We'll see. But Arizona, they can score as well. And LIU, their first game, they scored 92, 78 against Utah State. So they've kind of been like Jekyll and Hyde back and forth. Michigan's been consistently 90 or more. But both these teams average nearly 90 a game. So, again, this isn't a 170 total. It's not a 165, 157.5 after opening 156.5. Kind of tells you all you need to know that Sharps have hit that over. As soon as that total opened, boom, they jacked it up at least a point. So maybe that'll be my play. I'll do a cop out by not picking and sticking with a side. But maybe I'll root for an over there because that makes some sense to me. All right, Cade. Only got about 15, 10, 12 minutes left on the live stream. Let's talk a little baseball because you told me you had a couple plays for tonight. I have a couple plays here for tonight. And there's only two games to choose from. So probably know which games are going to highlight here. Let's talk about a couple late games. First, I want to hit on the Braves and the Diamondbacks. So this is a 9:40 p.m. Eastern time first pitch. By the way, we'll get out of college basketball. Reminder, if you didn't know, if you're living under a rock, we got MLB in Rhythm. So just remember that if you are a baseball bettor, we got you covered all season long. Now, this game to me jumped out for a couple reasons. I'll click on the Braves D-backs game here. I'm going to go with the Diamondbacks on the money line. What I like about this one, start with the pitching matchup. Reynaldo Lopez goes for the Braves, 0-0, 1.50 ERA. He's been pretty good. D-backs going with Ryan Nelson, 0-0, ERA of 7.71. So on the outset, it's like, hey, Braves are 4-2, D-backs are 3-3. Braves have the better pitcher. Take the Braves. But from a betting market perspective, you really like what you're seeing here in terms of the snakes because this game opened, a lot of books were around Atlanta Braves. What was it? -125, -120. Cade, this line is really dropping closer to a pick 'em at this point. A lot of books are down to like Braves -115, -110. I'm seeing some shops get down to a pick 'em basically. This is notable because the public, 60% of bets are going with the Braves, but the Braves aren't up to -130. This thing is falling down toward a pick 'em. So it tells me we got a lot of respected money coming in here on the snakes at home. A couple other factors that I like. You go over to Circa, 55% tickets, 80% of the money is on Arizona. You also look at a couple betting systems that mean a lot to me. Both teams coming off a win, take the home team. It's a very simple system since the start of last year. Another system I like, short home dogs, +120 or less. Being short and just say, hey, take the better team short number. But in baseball, a lot of times dogs +105, -105 tend to do pretty good. They actually are winning 53% of the time with an 8% ROI since 2025. You have a correlative betting, dog high total. Total in this one is 9. So usually if you're on a dog, you want a higher total, more expected runs scored, more variance. Snakes are 3-0 at home this year. Braves are playing their first road game. But again, public is going Braves, but line is dropping toward the D-backs. I do have at least a couple systems here. Again, not perfect, but I had a +1.5 with the D-backs, -170. I had a D-backs money line system, -107. So any thoughts on this one, Cade? Braves, actually a lean toward the under here from Rithmm, and Snakes. Any play on this one?
Yeah, I found myself on the Diamondbacks with you there. I took them at even money. That was earlier today. And basically, I think the Braves was a team that I was very high on, and I still am, honestly. Everything is pretty much just went wrong this year, though, so far. I mean, you lose Profar, you lose Murphy, you lose Kim, and all of a sudden your season's in shambles from the very get-go. And now you're still positive on the season, I mean, you're looking 4-2, which is very early. I mean, you're not even like a full 10 game in. But like this, people thought that like this team would be like overtaking the Mets and taking the division at this point. Like right now, it just doesn't seem like people are that confident in them. I think the lineup is very, very. I don't want to say. I don't want to know the word I'm looking for, but the potential is just not there. Obviously, because they're not healthy, which makes perfect sense. However, for Ronaldo Lopez, he's a guy who can pitch very well, but I think I'm very cautious on like backing just because he was injured all last year. First of all, first start this year was actually pretty good. Finished it with 4.4 expected ERA, and which isn't necessarily the worst thing in the world. I would say it's decent maybe, but same old story pretty much from the very get-go. Ryan Nelson, on the other hand, pitcher, I like backing him all, like last season as well. He's got a four-seamer. He's got the velo. Pitching great is second to none. I love his stuff. Stuff plus is 116. High. Ryan Nelson, like the guy that's probably under a lot of people's radars. Not necessarily a Cy Young candidate by all means, but this dude faced the Dodgers in the first game, first of all, and it was pitching on the road, which never really high on. So he wasn't very great on the road. However, at home last year, 2.71 ERA at home. As I said before, Braves lineup, a little bit shaky. I think I'm going to back the bullpen with the Diamondbacks, which is what I'm more afraid of personally. So if anything, if you guys are really cautious, just play him on the first 5. But I took him full game because I saw the value in it as well at the even money price that it was. And also the fact that I honestly, guy like Corbin Carroll, perfect example as well. Let me see. If anything, yeah, I had Corbin Carroll as well. I don't know if Rithmm did. I don't. We can get into props in a minute, I guess. But I had him on bases. I think is what I had him on, which he's batting almost like roughly 330, or sorry, yeah, 333, with an OPS of 1.162. So obviously, start of the season, these kind of stats get a little bit inflated, a little bit clearly, but that's still very good for the first start of the season. Driving in 8 runs. I love where he's at right now and the way his bat's feeling. He's just seeing the ball really well. And obviously, like I said, with Lopez, very dangerous against righties. Carroll was very dangerous against righties with a 918 OPS. I think you kind of see, I don't want to say regression because it's literally Lopez's like second start into the year, but maybe a little bit down to earth, I guess you could call it. So taking the D-backs on the money line outright, and then Carroll bases.
Love it, man. Yeah, Carroll would dial up here in the Rithmm player props. Not a green star recommended, but a caution flag, but predicted 2 bases. So you shop around, plus money on like Novig, Kalshi, the score, +110, +117, +119. So pretty good value there. I mean, he ropes a double, lead off at bat, boom, you cash your ticket,
We're done.
bottom of the first inning. So that would be pretty nice. But just to remind everyone, all of these, we used to go through this with football, Kate. It's kind of giving me some football, NFL flashbacks. We have all of our recommended plays here, player props, and we did have for Lopez over 2.5 walks allowed. Pretty juicy, plus 152, but that is a smart signal. So can he be a little wild? I'd be interested to see Cade with the new ABS, which I actually love. I see a lot of people saying they hate the ABS.
Awesome.
I kind of like it. Yeah, I think it's great, man. I think you're kind of really showing like which teams are smart and which are not, because my idiot Red Sox, like Trevor Story, this happened multiple times. It was clearly a ball. They called it a strike, but he did not tap his head and have it looked at. Like there are teams that are smart and like take advantage of it. There are other teams that let it pass by. Now, theoretically, because a lot of these calls are going to be called correctly based on like the laser and the where it is in the box. But we got a couple smart signals on both of these guys tonight to go over their walks. So Nelson is over 1.5 plus 100. So both smart signals here on the pitchers. Finishing up the stream here, Kate, I got one more play for you. I'm going to take a shot on the Giants tonight. I kind of like the G-men. Right, I like them. I definitely like them. I played them, so I better like them. But it's the same sort of thing. You got a road team that's popular in a short opening number, and that number's falling. It's going toward the unpopular home team. So we got Peterson against Ray tonight. A couple lefties on the bump. Peterson was good in his debut, 0-0, 0.00 ERA. Robbie Ray was decent too, 0-1, 3.38 ERA. We saw New York open as high as like minus 130. New York is now down to, what are they down to? Minus 125, minus 120. I see a minus 115. Again, if you like Arizona, I think you like San Fran. Lines dropping towards San Fran, even though 60% of money line bets are going with the Mets here. Great bet splits. You look in particular with the Giants, only 40% bets at DraftKings, yet the line's moving in their favor. You look over at Circa, 55% tickets, 84% dollars on the G-men. Couple good systems, short home dogs, 120 or less. Same match that we just had a second ago there with the Snakes. That's been a good system, 8% ROI since 2025. You also look at when both teams are coming off a loss, take the home dog. That's a dog system at 49% since last year. That's an 8% ROI. Also, you look at San Fran, 23rd against lefties, batting average. Mets are 26th. They're only hitting $167. So I'm going to take a shot here on San Fran with this line dropping in their favor. Any thoughts on this one, Cade? Any player props, or should we wrap up the stream?
Yeah, I have a couple of things as well here.
Nice.
Let me see. Kind of wanted the under, but I backed off at the end just because of, I think, the fake win projection at Oracle specifically. But I would lean Giants, I guess. I mean, Bo Bichette, 249 OPS. Lindor's hitting like 140 right now. What is going on with this Mets team? I have no idea. It feels like they're literally due to put up 15 runs at any given moment right now. I found myself not playing a side here, but actually took a prop on one of the pitchers, and that is Robbie Ray, who I am technically fading. I just took his under Ks. Doesn't necessarily mean I think the Mets absolutely get to him like crazy. The Mets, on the other hand, pretty much they just see they see fastballs and they see the slider combo very well. I think they sit on those more so a ton. Specifically looking at last year, not necessarily this year, obviously, because they're not hitting the ball at all this year, which is fine. Again, kind of using the same thing of where the Mets feels like they're due for a breakout in a way. So I felt like it was a safer play. Rithmm actually did have this one earlier. If I'm if I can be completely honest, I swear it was a great star. I swear. No, but it was projecting 4.5, and yeah, all the fastball and the slider work combo that I was having was on actually Adam Rosenberg's website on Handygraphs over there. Shout out to that guy. Get him on back for baseball season before we get out of here.
Where's he at? Yeah.
No, but yeah, Robbie Ray's under case today as well. Like I said, kind of in the under just with how the Mets are playing right now. but it felt weird taking like a pitcher under K's with an under as well. So I figured I'd just lay off and play it small for once on this MLB slate with only 3 games to go. But yeah, kept it simple tonight.
No, I'm right there with you. I was looking at the total too because, you know, you were 7.5 juiced over, and then there were some eights that popped up under.
Yeah.
The wind is blowing out like 10 miles per hour, but then
Right.
Oracle Park is weird because there's a lot of unders there. It's just the ball doesn't travel very well. I feel like if I'm in San Fran, I'm like under or nothing, just, historically speaking. But,
Right.
the market has, dipped or risen a bit, I guess you could say. But yeah, with a couple line moves and Rithmm recommendations, Green Star here on the G-Men to win the game. Take a shot on a little plus money with the Giants. But Cade, that just about does it, my friend. So another fun stream with you, talking Final Four, talking MLB. I want to remind everybody, if you haven't done it yet, download Rithmm, give them a 5-star review in the App Store, tell a friend about Rithmm, use the promo code START25 to get 25% off. And Cade, we got a Friday, got baseball. Life is pretty good. Take us home.
Man.
Any final thoughts here on the stream?
No, I just keep doing what we're doing. Said baseball season's obviously here, so we'll get to hit on that more. Hopefully, like I said, you guys will see me grinning ear to ear on the next show, whether the Michigan cashes in the future or not, to be determined. No, but other than that, I'm excited. We'll take these last 5 or so, whatever weeks of doing the show to hit on baseball really, and see if we can nail it into the ground and end on a good note.
Well said, my friend. Well, good luck, everybody. Enjoy the sweats, and Cade and I will look forward to hosting once again next Thursday, and we'll see if Cade's a millionaire or not. If it's not this time, Cade, it'll be the next time. Don't you worry, buddy. But you have a knack for across multiple sports too. But good luck, everybody. Have a great night, and go download Rithmm, and we'll see you guys